Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today we're digging into something really quite powerful, a vision for renewal that maybe isn't what you'd first expect. In a world that can feel pretty overshadowed by despair sometimes, we're asking, where does that genuine life-changing transformation actually happen? Where does it take root?
It's a huge question.
It really is. And for this deep dive, we're exploring the, extraordinary work of the Sisters of Mary. They're a congregation dedicated to lifting lives through faith, through education. And our insights today, they're coming mainly from a visit Bishop Joseph Strickland made recently to one of their schools down in Mexico.
Right. That's a key part of it.
But what makes this, I think, really unique is we're also looking at it from a super personal perspective. We've got the firsthand account of someone who actually lived it, someone who went through their system.
Yeah, that inside view is crucial.
So all this incredible information we're digging into, it comes from www.epistles.online. It's this great website. The author's a Catholic lay theologian, shares some really profound thoughts on faith, life, contemporary stuff.
Okay.
And here's the kicker, the thing that adds this amazing layer. The author of this particular piece, he's a graduate of one of the Sisters of Mary schools in the Philippines.
Ah, okay. So he knows it from the inside out.
Exactly.
Okay.
Specifically, the one for boys, they call it Girlstown in Cebu. So he's bringing this incredibly personal connection, having, walked those halls, lived that life we're talking about.
That makes a huge difference. It's not just an outside observation then.
Not at all. So our mission here really is to unpack how the Sisters of Mary, well, they don't just talk about Christ's love, do they? They seem to actively embody it. They show a real, concrete path forward.
A tangible path.
Yeah. And not just for the kids whose lives they touch, but maybe, just maybe, as a powerful example for the whole church. What happens when real faith meets that kind of profound, dedicated service? Get ready, because it's pretty inspiring stuff.
It really is. And, to understand the impact, the transformation they achieve, you really have to go back to the beginning, to the founder.
Right. The source.
Exactly. We need to talk about Venerable Aloysius Schwartz. Most people knew him as Far Al.
Right.
He was this, truly saintly priest from the U.S. And his whole life, his whole focus was driven by this one really urgent mission.
And that mission, it wasn't just about, say, giving out food or basic schooling, was it? It seems like he saw the problem, poverty and suffering, as something deeper.
You've absolutely hit it. That's crucial. His core mission, as he saw it, was freeing people from this intertwined reality of sin, suffering, and poverty.
All three together.
Yes. He saw them as completely interconnected. Not separate problems you could solve one by one, but like a cycle trapping people. So his whole approach was always about Christ-centered care for the soul.
Ah, okay. So holistic.
Totally holistic. Friar Al believed true freedom wasn't just, filling bellies or teaching reading. It was about spiritual healing, restoring dignity, helping people stand on their own feet, but guided by faith.
So breaking that whole cycle.
Exactly. By addressing the whole person, body, mind, spirit, and that comprehensive, deeply spiritual view of human need, that's what really set his vision apart. That's the foundation for these amazing schools we see today. He wasn't just building schools, he was building, havens for human flourishing.
Wow. And this vision, it didn't just stay put, did it? It spread, really spread, globally.
Oh, absolutely. Friar Al's vision was never just for one town or one country. It was a call to serve the poorest of the poor wherever they were. He founded not just the Sisters of Mary, but also the Brothers of Christ.
Okay, so two congregations.
Two congregations working across continents. Think about it. He started in war-torn Korea, then the Philippines, Mexico, Honduras, Guatemala, Brazil, even Tanzania and Africa.
That's an incredible reach.
It really is. And all these places, so different culturally, geographically, they all share that same core idea Fr. Al set out. Unconditional care, solid education, and deep spiritual formation for the kids who need it most.
It just shows the power of one person's idea, right? If it's rooted in something real.
It's a massive testament to his Christ-centered mission and, sadly, to the ongoing need for this kind of work everywhere. It shows how one dedicated person can spark something huge that touches countless lives.
It's truly mind-boggling, that ripple effect. One person, deep faith, creating these pockets of hope all over the world. And his legacy, it's not just in the lives changed, right? The church itself, the formal Catholic Church, has recognized him in a significant way.
Absolutely. And that really underscores the sanctity and the profound impact of his life. On January 22, 2015, so relatively recently, Pope Francis himself, he ordered the decree of the heroic virtue of Venerable Aloysius Schwartz.
Venerable. Okay, what does that mean exactly for listeners who might not know?
Right. So venerable is a specific title the Catholic Church gives. It means they've formally investigated and recognized that this person lived a life of heroic virtue. Basically, they consistently showed extraordinary faith, hope, charity, prudence, justice, all the virtues to an exceptional degree.
So it's a big step.
It's a very significant step.
Yeah.
It's part of the formal process towards possibly being declared a saint one day. It's the church officially saying, look, this person's life, their dedication, their sacrifices, their mission rooted in Christ, it was exceptional. It's a model for all of us.
Wow. So he's revered not just by the people he helped or the sisters and brothers he founded, but like universally within the church.
That's right.
And his connection to these schools, it's still physical, right? Even where he rests.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. And it's incredibly symbolic. His final resting place is the Chapel of the Virgin of the Poor. And that chapel is right inside the compound of the Sisters of Mary School Girlstown in Silang, Cavite, in the Philippines.
Right there on the grounds.
Exactly. So even though he passed away back in 1992, his physical presence, in a way, continues right there. It's a source of inspiration, of veneration, right in the heart of the work he started.
So the sisters, the students, pilgrims, they can visit.
Mm-hmm. It keeps his spirit, his vision, very tangible, very present. It's a powerful reminder of his ongoing connection, and the church recognizes his saintly life through this ongoing veneration. He's still a spiritual father there.
So when we really analyze Firal's legacy, it sounds like his personal dedication, his unwavering focus on Christ and the mission, that's what really built the foundation for everything we see today.
Precisely. It's the bedrock. His life wasn't just about, raising money or putting up buildings, although he did that incredibly well. It was about instilling a spirit, a philosophy, a whole way of life that directly confronts suffering with God's love and, crucially, with practical solutions.
Practical solutions being key.
Absolutely. He designed a system where spiritual food was just as vital as actual food or book learning. This whole approach, born from his deep personal faith and his conviction about the dignity of every single person, that's why Bishop Strickland and so many others see such profound transformations.
That's not just a school.
It's way more. It's an environment carefully crafted, to grow the whole person in the light of Christ, a living embodiment of Firal's vision.
Okay, that sets the stage perfectly. Let's pivot now to see that vision in action through Bishop Strickland's eyes. He recently visited the Sisters of Mary School Girlstown in Chalco, Mexico. And you mentioned this wasn't his first trip there.
No, it was his second visit, which I think is significant. It shows a sustained interest, right? Not just a one-off photo op. He wanted to see it again, observe the ongoing work. He's clearly been deeply affected by what he saw there.
And what was his main takeaway? What really struck him?
Well, one of the core things he shared, and he said it with real conviction, was witnessing firsthand, quote, a beautiful sign that the truth that Jesus Christ lived, died, and rose to share with humanity, it hasn't gone away. It hasn't gotten confused. It hasn't gotten diluted. It is still powerful and wonderful.
Wow, it's quite a statement.
Isn't it? It's more than just a nice comment. It's a deep theological insight based on direct observation. He saw, right there, clear evidence of Christ's truth working. In a world where sometimes faith feels, watered down or confusing.
You hear that a lot.
Right. He found this place where it was just pure, undiluted, and incredibly powerful in changing life, even lives that started in really dark places. It clearly reaffirmed for him the enduring power of the gospel when it's truly lived out, a real beacon of hope.
And the young women he was seeing there, the students, who are they? What kind of backgrounds are we talking about?
Okay, so these are girls roughly aged 12 up to maybe 16, 17. So think middle school, high school age for us.
Got it.
And here's the really important part about their backgrounds. He emphasized they're not orphans, but they come from being trafficked or being abused or being neglected in various ways.
Oh, wow. So incredibly difficult situation.
Extremely difficult. They might have families, technically, but those families, for tragic reasons, couldn't provide safety or care. These girls carry heavy burdens, real trauma. The fact that the sisters actively seek out and welcome girls from these backgrounds, it just highlights the huge need they're meeting and the immense courage it takes. They're offering a lifeline.
So given those backgrounds, trafficking, abuse, neglect, you might expect the atmosphere inside the school to be, well, heavy, sad, Maybe fearful?
You might reasonably expect that, yeah. But Bishop Strickland noted something completely different, almost, miraculous. He specifically said, the joyful atmosphere there shows what the light of Christ and his truth brings to us.
Joyful, despite everything.
Exactly. That's the remarkable thing. It's not just about giving them food and a roof. It's restoring something much deeper. Joy, hope, a sense of purpose. And this joy, he said, wasn't superficial. It was palpable. It radiated from the girls.
How do you see that?
He mentioned things like seeing them burst out laughing during recess, genuine smiles in class, hearing their vibrant singing at Mass. Small things maybe, but powerful signs of real healing, real transformation happening inside.
That's incredible.
It really is. It shows that when you take people out of crushing circumstances and put them in an environment built on love, truth, and importantly, liberating order, their natural joy can come back. It can shine.
Yeah.
The sisters create that with routines, loving discipline, attention, and always emphasizing their identity as beloved daughters of God.
Liberating order. That's an interesting phrase.
Yeah, I think it captures it well. And Bishop Strickland took it further. He described these schools as, and this is powerful, a microcosm of what the church needs to do.
A microcosm, like a mini version.
Exactly. He's saying the radical, life-changing work happening there, it mirrors, on a smaller scale, what the whole church should be doing in our culture today. It's like a living blueprint for effective, compassionate evangelization, reaching the marginalized, lifting them up.
That's a huge claim. How did he see that playing out? He mentioned something about the older girls going home.
Yes, this was a key example for him, showing their faith in action. He called it a beautiful aspect. The older girls, they get to have home visits, maybe for a week or a weekend, to see their families.
Okay, reconnecting.
But it's more than just a visit. He said they were being instructed and strengthened in their faith to go home lovingly, to bring the gospel. Think about that. Girls who came from tough, often spiritually neglected backgrounds are now so well formed in their faith.
Catechized, you mean?
Deeply catechized, yes. They're equipped and encouraged to share that faith with their own families.
Wow. How does that work in practice?
He gave examples. They might be prepared to ask mom and dad if for whatever reason their marriages aren't blessed in the church. Mom and dad, you really need to take care of that. Or, whatever the situation. If their family wasn't living according to the gospel, they were being catechized and strengthened to share that catechism.
That sounds potentially difficult.
It could be, but the key word he used was lovingly. It's not about judging. It's about wanting their families to have the same truth, the same joy they've found. The sisters prepare them to speak with charity, with patience. They become messengers of hope to their own parents. It's kind of amazing reversing the usual roles.
So their life at the school isn't just about escaping the past. It's actively building this positive, meaningful future based on faith.
Absolutely. He described their lives there as joyful and ordered and meaningful. That order isn't oppressive, it's freeing. It gives them structure, a moral compass, stability they might never have had.
And that leads to?
It lets them thrive, not just spiritually, but academically, socially, and they achieve impressive things afterwards. He said they go on to great careers after they finish at this school. He mentioned specific examples. Educators, businesswomen, lawyers, doctors.
Real professional success.
Yes, but here's the crucial part. They achieve this while being nurtured in the way of Jesus Christ. Their success isn't separate from their faith. It grows out of it. It shows that living by gospel values actually empowers them to contribute meaningfully to society, infused with integrity and service.
That's a powerful counter-narrative to some ideas out there.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the most telling sign, the ultimate proof of success, it's something even deeper than careers, right?
Right. What really shows the depth of this transformation. Bishop Strickland pointed to something truly profound. He said, one of the great signs of the success and the importance of what they're doing is a number of the sisters, there were girls in the school themselves who have come back.
Wait, the nuns teaching there? Were once students there?
Exactly. They receive so much value and they've heard the Lord's call of a religious vocation, and so they've joined the religious community that is there, the Sisters of Mary.
That is incredible.
Isn't it? The very girls rescued from darkness choose to dedicate their entire lives to doing the same for others. They experience that love, that healing so profoundly, they felt called to give it back as Sisters of Mary. That's the ultimate validation, the cycle of grace made visible.
Wow.
And these sisters, the former students, he described them as beautiful, joyful, peaceful sisters, guiding the young girls away from the darkness that they've encountered. Their own past gives them this incredible empathy, this connection. They are living proof that transformation is possible, leading to a life of purpose and service.
So tying it back to that microcosm idea.
Right. For Bishop Strickland, this whole model is what the church needs. It's this radical, loving, but also truth-based approach. He said it's not rejecting ever, meaning the church embraces everyone.
Universal welcome.
Yes. But crucially, it's also not saying, come on, girls, go ahead and continue your sins, and we'll give you a place to be.
Ah, so there's a distinction. Love the person, not the sin.
Exactly, that biblical distinction. Welcome everyone with boundless compassion, but don't condone or enable things that harm them or keep them in darkness. The goal isn't just acceptance in sin or suffering.
It's liberation from it.
Precisely. The goal is to free them from the sin and darkness, whether it was their own sin or the sinful world that was imposed on them. It acknowledges the complexity. Sometimes it's external injustice, sometimes internal choices.
Okay.
But the school provides the sanctuary, the structure, the path to freedom, its active formation. Ultimately, he said, this school is a place where daughters of God, sisters of Jesus Christ, can really be formed to know who they are, to know their gifts and their talents, and to transform the world.
Restore their identity. Empower them.
Yes. Help them see who they truly are in God's eyes, discover their potential, and then send them out to make a difference. It's a living example of what the church is called to do. Form, heal, empower, all rooted in Christ's love and truth.
What Bishop Strickland saw, and what he's sharing so passionately, it sounds less like just a report and more like, well, an invitation.
It really does feel like that. He explicitly encouraged people to go see it for themselves. He said, I would encourage, if people are looking for hope and looking for a way to make a concrete difference in their lives, I encourage them to organize a group.
A direct call to action.
Absolutely. For anyone feeling hopeless or wanting to do something tangible. And he noted the sisters' love for Americans to come and visit, so there's a real welcome there, a desire to share their mission, build those bridges.
And he shared some nice lighter moments too, right?
Yeah.
About the girls themselves.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't all heavy theology. There's immense joy there. He recalled this really moving moment after Mass. The girls have a beautiful love. They sang the Star-Spangled Banner as a group of 3,000 girls. Beautiful.
3,000 girls singing the Star-Spangled Banner.
Wow, can you imagine? Such a powerful gesture of welcome, of connection. And it wasn't just formal stuff either. He also mentioned they sang some popular songs like Take Me Home Country Road.
Seriously, country roads.
Yeah, which just shows their spirit, right? Their joy, their ability to connect on a simple human level. It paints this picture of a vibrant, welcoming community. A visit isn't just observing, it's experiencing this profound connection.
Okay, this is where things get even more interesting, I think, more intimate. Bishop Strickland gives us this powerful outside view validating the work. But the source we're using, www.epistles.online, it offers something else, something from the inside.
Right, the author.
Exactly. The author isn't just reporting from afar. He states, very clearly, he is a product of the Sisters of Mary School in the Philippines. He went to their boys' town in Cebu. He lived this.
And that perspective is just invaluable, isn't it? It adds this layer of authenticity you just can't get otherwise.
Totally. He says, having spent 4 years under their guidance, I have personally experienced the profound joy, deep faith, and life-changing formation the Sisters of Mary provide.
Personally experienced. That's the key. It's not theory, it's lived reality. His testimony basically confirms everything Bishop Strickland observed, but from the student's viewpoint. It proves that this transformation isn't just, a nice idea. It's real, daily, life-altering for the kids inside.
Yeah.
He's living proof.
That phrase, life-changing formation, it's so strong. Can you maybe give us a more concrete sense of what that meant for him? Like, from his writings, what was a daily reality at Boys Town that really made that difference?
Yeah, absolutely. He talks a lot about the rigorous but loving discipline that was fundamental for him, coming from a background maybe lacking structure.
Which many of them did.
Right. The daily routine at Boys Town, the set times for prayer, classes, vocational work, meals, chores. He describes it as liberating, not restrictive. It gave shape to their lives.
Structure as freedom.
In a way, yes, that order, plus the sisters' constant attention, firm but compassionate. It taught him self-discipline, responsibility, the value of work, things he says he just didn't have before.
Okay.
And he emphasizes the sisters' belief in their dignity. Every boy seen as a child of God with potential no matter their past. He recalls times when a sister would patiently explain why something was wrong, instead of just punishing building that internal accountability.
Nurturing potential.
Exactly, countering the neglect or abuse they might have known. And the profound joy he talks about. It wasn't just having fun, though there was that too. He mentions camaraderie, brotherhood. But it was also the deeper joy of learning, mastering a skill in the workshops, understanding his faith personally, belonging to a community that genuinely cared. These daily things, they added up to a total transformation, changing his whole life's direction from maybe struggle to, well, purpose and hope.
So connecting his personal experience back to the sisters' overall mission.
His perspective just locks it all together. He says, their mission of providing free education and steadfast commitment to Catholic values can illuminate our path and strengthen the Church in its call to evangelize the world.
So individual change leading to broader impact.
Precisely. His own life shows how it works. Practical, free education woven tightly with solid spiritual guidance. It's not just about creating good workers, though it does that. It's about forming people deeply rooted in faith, living meaningful lives, and ready to contribute to evangelizing the world.
Whether through their jobs or just their example.
Or even, as we heard, by becoming sisters or brothers themselves. His story proves the model works. It offers a real, tested way forward for individuals and for the Church. Education infused with spiritual truth, it's powerful.
Okay, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, it feels like we've covered some really extraordinary ground. Truly inspiring.
Definitely.
We started with Venerable Aloysius Schwartz of
Yeah.
his vision to tackle sin, suffering, poverty altogether, setting the blueprint.
The foundation.
Then we saw that blueprint vividly alive through Bishop Strickland's eyes in Mexico. The joy, the transformation, the gospel really working.
Yeah, that tangible reality.
And then tying it all together, that incredibly powerful personal story from the author at epistles.online, a graduate of Boys Town whose life is basically Exhibit A for how these schools free people, empower them with faith, give them real purpose.
It's a compelling arc. From the founder's vision to the present-day reality, confirmed by both outside observation and inside experience.
So thinking about all this,
Yeah.
it kind of leaves us with a question, doesn't it? A challenge, maybe.
What's that?
Well, if this kind of profound change, this real hope, can blossom in these communities, often starting from such incredibly tough places, what can we learn from that?
The takeaway for us.
Yeah. What inspirations, what practical lessons can we draw for trying to build similar environments, places of growth, healing, real faith, in our own lives, our families, our neighborhoods?
That's the big question, isn't it? How do we replicate that dedication, that holistic, Christ-centered care in our own little corners of the world? How do we plant those same seeds of hope?
Something definitely worth reflecting on. It's a call to look at our own capacity to maybe be catalysts for that kind of change.
A challenging thought, but a hopeful one, too.
Absolutely. Now, if you, listening, feel inspired and want to learn more about the Sisters of Mary and their amazing global work, particularly how they're tackling poverty through education,
Where should they go?
the best place is the website for their support organization, World Villages for Children. That's at www.worldvillages.org.
www.worldvillages.org.
Got it. Lots of info there.
Definitely worth a visit. And if you want to keep digging into the insights from our source today, the author whose personal story added so much,
The graduate from Boys Town.
right, you should definitely subscribe to his website. It's www.epistles.online. Really thoughtful stuff there.
www.epistles.online.
Oh.
And he doesn't just write. He also has a podcast. For even deeper dives on faith, culture, all sorts of things from his perspective, search for the Catholic Epistles Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Catholic Epistles Podcast. Excellent. So plenty of ways to keep exploring.
For sure. Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration.
Been fascinating.
Hasn't it? We'll be back soon with another deep dive into more compelling ideas. See you then.